Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Create Expectations. I'm here with my co-host, Little Man, and and uh, and his mom is here to hang out with him, to hang out with us too. Sarah, how are you? And more importantly, how is the little man?
He's good. He's sleeping away. I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Good. I hoped you were good. I did.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah. I don't feel like you actually care. So let's just move right on,
I was
right
half
along.
expecting you to be like, not good. And then,
I'm not that annoying. Being that person that you're like, how are you? And you don't actually care how they're doing, and they're like, bad. And you're like, I didn't actually care, thank you.
did you panic that you got yourself into a stupid situation?
You're like,
Yeah.
who? This is supposed to be a courteous exchange. We didn't need this.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you bad? Oh, because you're like, oh, never mind. You like start wondering if it's like worthwhile. You're like, we're more like acquaintances, right? Like more than friends. Like I can afford to be rude to you and just walk away.
Oh man. Um, in
All
other
right.
news,
Yeah. So, like, how about Galaxy of Heroes?
yeah,
Yeah, we got Barf, or rather Tarf.
Tarf, not barf. It's
Well, I
it.
mean, I just think of like Spaceballs, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm a little excited about his kit. I was gonna riot. Well, I mean, riot is way too strong of a word, but I was gonna be pretty sad if we didn't get a kit this week.
yeah. I I was expecting us to get it last week.
Me too. Yeah, yeah. I just wonder when Cal Survivor is gonna be here because
Hmm.
I've been spending to like I'll have Seer in a couple days. I'll have her relics. But then Marin isn't ready yet. Marin isn't ready to
Yeah.
farm yet, even for crystals. So I like I would prefer to be on the like I'd like to get Cal the survivor on the
Hmm.
first go. I just don't know if they're gonna make that possible actually.
Yeah, I'm curious. So I was looking at the schedule of marquees when the Inquisitor started coming out with Pico last week. And these characters, because I think a lot of people are kind of comparing this to Grand Inquisitor's release to sort of, since that seems to be one of the most relatable ones.
Hmm.
Um, and these characters, so like Tarfful and Cal and all of them, are already closer together in terms of marquee event dates than the Inquisitors were.
Yeah, I kept wondering, like, especially at their initial release, like they released a couple of them, and then it was a kind of a long wait,
Hmm.
and then what happened? Fifth Brother was released to Cantina, and oh yeah, I had a friend who was free to play who just barely managed to unlock Grand Inquisitor in time.
Yeah, I know a couple people that did it free to play. But the Inquisitor marquee events, like we had, I think it was second sister first, and then whoever we got second was two, like after her was 2 or 3 weeks later. And then after that, it was like a month gap and then a 3 week, like they were very much more drawn out. Whereas with this, we've seen 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and now this one is three. So I'm curious
Right.
if Saw will be three, and then the fifth brother, when he was released to Cantina, was June 8th, I want to say, something like it was around there
Oh
in that
wow.
week.
And second sister was she in January or February, something like that? She was
Yeah,
way earlier.
her marquee was January 27th, it was the end of January, and then fifth brother went farmable in the first 10-ish days, let's say, of June. I can't remember the exact date. And then obviously you have the Grand Inquisitor event was like 2 weeks later.
Right.
So I'm curious if they're gonna do a similar thing where Saw goes farmable and then 2-ish weeks later we see the Journey event.
I
Who
don't know.
knows?
Yeah, I the interesting thing to me, the thing that I actually really appreciate at least is even if so, I think CG is going to have some kind of incentive to want to keep the big guilds with Cal Survivor. Like they'll have a big unlock event, and only like 300 people will unlock him, or 1,000 people, or something like a relatively very small number of players will unlock him, and hopefully they don't just pull a Grand Inquisitor on us and wait for 6 months.
Yeah.
But even if they did, the one consolation is so far all of the characters that they've released are interesting in their own right and
hmm
will have a role to play
Yeah.
on my roster.
hmm That is true. That they are all like there isn't really maybe Marin only because my Night Sisters are terrible, but
Slash garbage. Yeah. Just kidding. But
Initiate is very upset
seriously.
about that. Or Acolyte, whichever one it is that I took to Relics.
It, it's really funny that you have. Is she Relic 8 or 9 yet? Like so far.
She's Relic 8.
Yeah, it's funny because I know which one it is better than you do. Because
I know. Oh
I
my
think
God.
it's because I care about the faction more, so I actually know what they do.
hmm
And yeah, you picked the most worthless one by far. So
Well, I did it for the guild.
I know I have a relic a Malak for the guild. So
Yeah.
I know
It's not
I
even
know
close to the
I know
same.
that's so silly. I know I'm not taking huge credit. I actually on that account on my Professor X account I mean I was showing you, but I have a relic 9 Chrysanthemum now.
I know, and the protection on him is ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy? Like I didn't particularly try like crazy hard. Like obviously I put protection primaries and stuff, but my guess is that I could find a way to enhance it a little bit more than that. But yeah, like his total protection is like 200,000.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's like you compared your relic 5
hmm
Chrysanthemum or yeah Chrysanthemum and you had like what 100,000 instead of 200,000.
Yeah. Yours was basically double mine. And
Yeah,
I have
that's a
protection
lot.
primaries and like 6 dot mods.
Well, I mean, his Omicron makes it so awesome at GAC
Mhm.
because it gives 40% extra protection on top of that. And actually, Embo's Omicron does the same thing. He gives 40% bonus protection to Chrysanthemum.
Gee.
Like,
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
so, like, I would argue that, especially because the Java Squad is so relevant right now, like it's more powerful than ever now that the current, like the last Datacron set went away and they don't have an instant kill option to be able to take him out. Like
hmm
he becomes super relevant. So, yeah, he's as Relic 9. He's my third Relic 9 on that account, and Jabba's still at Relic 7.
You have 3 Relic 9s on that account.
On Professor X, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, because you have, I mean, you have at least two. I'm guessing. Like you have Relic 9 on Jedi
I have
Master Luke, right?
yeah, I have two.
Yeah, and then everyone has Admiral Radis.
Yeah,
So this was just like, yeah, it's just one more.
man.
Yeah, I know. Hashtag fancy. So, well, ironically, like you're probably not going to be putting Chrysanthemum with Tarfful.
No, probably not.
Gosh, I keep wondering if how Tarfful my wordplays are going to be with him.
Oh man. This I feel like this is just the start of them. This is just the beginning.
Obviously, that seems
Obviously.
obvious.
Um,
But yeah, he looks really interesting to me. Actually, I think the problem with him is honestly like not a lot of people are gonna have the team that he's supposed to have. Like they'll have half of it maybe with veteran Han and
mhm.
veteran Chewie. But
Yeah.
then Zalbar's pretty hit and miss. Like how good is your Zalbar?
Gear 12.
And then my guess is that your Clone Wars Chewie is
Like gear 8 or
Gear 8.
something.
Yeah.
High enough that I can use his leadership ability.
Clone Wars Chewie takes like 400 Carbanti to get up to Relics.
Ugh.
It's
No,
still
thank
a
you.
lot. It's still a whole lot, yeah. So, do you want to talk? We don't do this too often. Do you want to talk about the kit a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it because why not? I actually read it.
Good job.
Thank you.
I know that that is a challenge for you.
Reading? Yeah.
Just just reading a kit before HNN, but
I did read it, so I got impatient, but um it's interesting. It's very, I don't know, it feels very different than what we usually get in kids.
yeah. So, yeah, there's actually a lot of components that I think are really interesting. I don't know if it's going to be a world beater team, but it
Hmm.
will ramp damage really nicely.
Yeah. It looks like, yeah, like that. And then the speed stacking was interesting to me. Um
Yeah.
there
So,
just seems to be like his unique in particular just seems to be like there's a lot of nuance to it and adds so much interesting aspects to the team.
okay, so the team that we're looking at is most likely going to be the ones that are on the synergy suggestions. So Clone Wars Chewie, Zalbar, Veteran Han, and Veteran Chewie.
Hmm.
His basic is pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a dispel on basic,
Yeah, which is fantastic.
and then all the Wookiee allies gain defense penetration up and defense up for a turn, and protection up for 2 turns.
Right. Like
But that
that's
the defense is so good. Like with them, defense is hitting power.
right. So you want that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like defense, like yeah, I feel a little bit. Honestly, I won't lie. I actually thought about you when I saw how much defense this team is gonna want.
And that I don't have defense mods. Yeah, it was like a struggle bus to just get uh Chrysanthemum's defense mods sorted. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, defense set is actually pretty rare on Professor X as well, so I can't really mock. But like defense set, guys, defense set with I don't know, probably health because protection up. I don't know. We'll have to figure out how that's gonna work, but it looks really strong. I liked that in the FAQ, by the way, at the bottom, he
Mhm.
actually did mention that the correct way to spell Wookiee is with 2 E's at the end, which is fairly important,
Yes.
in my opinion. But, you know.
A lot of people spell it wrong. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like his first special, there's more defense stacking.
Here, just a
Uh,
sec. I'm gonna pull it up. It'll take a sec though. All right, here's the kit. We never review kits on this channel, or on this show, so not used to. I don't have it set up as usual, so
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so they're killing the poor probe droid in all of these examples. But how important to you
Mhm.
is animation? Like like the way the abilities look.
I don't think like it's not ridiculously important, but I do notice when they look really cool.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's just nice. It's like icing on the cake or something.
Yeah. I will say all of these seem pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
animation wise. Like I'm not like blown away by them.
I wish they had him like climbing a tree or something random, but I guess they're like in a tree, so there's that. I actually think that this is the opening environment of the game. Like when you first start the game,
Hmm.
I think you're on Kashyyyk killing stuff, aren't you?
Are you?
I thought so.
I have no idea.
I mean, like my starting player experience like 6 years ago or whatever. I think I remember that killing like battle droids.
Hmm.
Anyways, so the first special gain Wookiee allies gain 25 defense stacking for the rest of the encounter, and
Yeah.
then calls all Wookiee allies to assist and stun target enemy for a turn. Then, ally attackers gain critical damage up for 2 turns, ally healers and supports gain speed up, and ally tanks taunt for 2 turns.
It's I like this. I think I like that you call everybody because then like I'm just thinking of what everyone will do on their basic. Like if they inflict any debuffs or anything like that, it's all gonna happen.
Yeah, well, yeah, and everyone gets the defense, which I mean, the stacking defense is really nice. There's no cap to it or anything. Um, I mean, I guess there's not going to be a raid. I was going to say, like, you could kind of just, you know, you could just kind of ramp their damage because all their damage is based off defense. So, special two is called Rrr, Rrr. Oh yeah, this is just another so dispel all debuffs on all allies. So they have a cleanse, and they gain 50% crit damage for 2 turns. Wookiee allies gain potency up and tenacity up for 2 turns, and gain 10% max health stacking for the rest of the encounter. All enemies are inflicted with provoked for 1 turn, which can't be evaded. Which I don't remember. What does provoked do?
I don't remember what provoked is. I'm trying to
We're
think of who
awesome.
has it.
Guess we could Google it. Hold on. Hold on to your butts. Okay, so what it is that it's that red counterattack, like the buff that gives you
Oh, yeah.
it's that red one, and so you have 100% counter chance, but then your offense is only at 10%, so you're doing almost no damage, and you take damage whenever you counter someone.
Right. So yeah, it's forcing damage to happen to you, basically.
Yeah, you do. It does 20% max health damage to you. So, pretty decent there. And then let's see. So his unique. So Tarfful himself has 20 speed and extra tenacity. Whenever an ally is buff dispelled, he gains. Tarfful gains 10% turn meter. So if you have a lot of buffs on this team, actually, he's going to be getting a lot of turn meter unless you can block it somehow.
Hmm.
Oh, by the way, he's got the Wookiee tag. At least it says Wookiee on the actual top. Like, it makes
Yeah.
me think we're actually going to get a Wookiee tag.
That's what I'm thinking. And like I was wondering about this because we don't have one visible to us in game, but there has to
Right.
be one in the background because of that Wookiee mission. So I guess if that's the case, they're just gonna bring it to the foreground.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, so whenever an ally, yes, we can turn meter, but then they have this cool thing where 3 Wookiee allies active at the start of battle. So in 3v3, you have
Mhm.
to have Wookiees. You can't have Vedhan with you, for instance.
Right. Okay, good point.
And then whenever an enemy attacks out of turn, all allies gain 25 speed, stacking max 500 for 1 turn.
500.
Well, it's so crazy. Like, so all your characters are going to be between 2 to 300, maybe a little higher than that, depending on how you're modding them. 500 though. So yeah, I mean, the only teams that really, I guess, when an enemy attacks out of turn, I guess if you're like fighting like a Mon Mothma team or something.
Well, no, because if you give them provoked, they're gonna attack out of turn, right? Because they're going to counter,
Well, that too, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
right? That would count. Man.
Yeah, I mean, if you get, but but like my Mon Mothma team is presumably going to go before you.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know how this works though. Like if they're always achieving 100% turn meter, even if you have 1,000 speed, 10 million speed, if they're getting 100% turn meter and they keep closing that gap, you're still not going to take a turn. But I guess
Right.
this helps you like kind of force your way in if there's a little bit of drop off. Yeah, it's just an interesting mechanic. Like you're getting speed, not turn meters. So it's not something you can just block with like Kenobi.
Mhm.
Like if you survive long enough, you'll get super fast and eventually get a word in edgewise, probably.
Yeah, but that's a good point that it's speed specifically, not turn meter. So you have to get a turn in.
So a lot of things that are kind of negating turn meter these days, and it's an interesting like that. Now they have two characters in a row that kind of ignore the turn meter thing and go their own direction. Like
Hmm.
Marin has the like she gains turn meter, but she can't be denied that turn meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you get that. So when a Wookiee ally gains health up, all allies recover 50% health and protection and gain advantage. So they're just like constantly. I mean, this is really cool regeneration. Like Wookiees are supposed to be super resilient.
Hmm.
Whenever a Wookiee ally has retribution, Wookiee allies inflict damage over time to target enemy when they use a basic ability. Like Zalbar does that anyways, but let's see. If veteran smuggler Chewie is here, then veteran Han gains bonuses from his second special.
Yeah. Which is very interesting. I like that. Han just gets to come and tag along.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. And Vet Han, like I keep wanting to find a place to use him, and he just
Hmm.
keeps getting kind of shouldered aside. He's a cool kid. I'm excited to see him use being used here. And then finally we have the leader. It's got a territory war Omicron, so we can just ignore it for now. And so at the start of battle, Wookiee tanks pre-taunt, so Zalbar and Clone Wars Chewie both.
Hmm.
Everyone, all the allies gain 20% defense and max health, doubled for Wookiees. And then, yeah, so whenever a Wookiee ally gains taunt, all Wookiee allies gain 10% defense stacking for the rest of the encounter. And then at the start of each allied Wookiee's turn, they gain offense equal to 200% of their defense until the end of their turn. So as long as you're like you want a lot of tanks on the team so that everyone's gaining a ton of defense and then you can't be killed because
Hmm.
it's all like they all have these defense things anyways. Like all their kits are defensive. And yeah, they're
Yeah, and you
just
have to chew through both of the tanks, basically, or figure
yeah.
out a way to get around them.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks really interesting to me. Like super interesting.
Hmm.
Um Oh, and then the one thing that a lot of people have missed actually when I've talked to them about it, is this last line. If there are no Galactic Legend enemies,
Hmm.
whenever an allied Wookiee is critically hit, they reflect 50% of the damage dealt back into the attacker.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Well, it makes me wonder how they're going to interact with Bad Batch because Bad Batch do a lot of they do a lot of normal damage, but then they do a lot of true damage. I don't know.
Mm.
Like if Bad Batch come and take them out, they probably can take them out. But the question is it going to be good enough banners?
Mm. Because they'll have this damage dealt back to them.
Right. Potentially. Anyways, I don't know. Anyways, what do you think? Seem good?
I like it. I mean, I I'm not like, oh wow, I really absolutely need to gear him right away kind of thing, but his kit is very different than what we've been getting. I mean, like you said, Marin's is different too in terms of like the speed mechanics that they're kind of going with here. Um, yeah, so it makes it very different.
I said that about just Mara and Marin, whatever, with the turn meter thing. But if you think about it, the Cal and Seer team, the characters,
Hmm.
are also incentivized to not have a whole lot of speed on them.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Um, it's an interesting like way that they seem to be going because for so long we've been like speed, 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 speed.
Right. And this one is like, well, like you kind of just get enough from this. Like You probably could have other priorities.
Right. And it sounds like you want other priorities.
I think so. Yeah, it's this is very very interesting to me. This kid is awesome actually. Yeah, like the defense stacking for the taunts. You're gonna have at least two taunts on the team. One thing I noticed is that Vandor Chewy doesn't really have like so that he is a tank, so he
Mhm.
would have like you don't want him to taunt, and not all of the Wookiees are scoundrels. Well, let me think. Maybe that's false, actually. But I guess they are, so he could actually keep them alive. But gosh, all the why are Wookiees all scoundrels?
Are
That's
they
kind
all
of messed up.
scoundrels?
Yeah, I mean, except for Tarfful, I guess.
Oh. Huh.
I mean, even
Yeah.
like Black Chrysanthemum is. I think all of them are.
Yeah. Clone Wars Chewie is. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, but they don't have like any explicit synergy with him, and you don't want him to taunt anyways. So I don't know. It seems to me like Zalbar and Clone Wars Chewie will be enough.
Right. And that you don't. I mean, I guess you would need Vandor for the territory battle mission because you can't
Oh,
take Han.
sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of too bad, but well, because I already have him Relic 6, it wouldn't. He'd be really close to getting there. But
Mm.
yeah, this is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm a little pumped to play with the Wookiees. Um, uh, it seems I don't know if it's gonna be like amazing or world beating, but
Yeah.
it's different, and it's another turd polishing team.
Yeah. That is accurate. Which is funny because it really does feel like they're bringing up characters to kind of lead us towards like make them requirements for another stronger character that you'll want to have, and then make these required characters the turd polishers.
Right. Well, and honestly, like you're gonna have to do a little bit of work to get this team. Like on my main account at least, I already have Clone Wars Chewie at Relic 5, Zalbar is at 5.
Hmm.
I think Veterans Chewie is Relic 3 is my lowest, but
Right, from his requirement.
right, yeah, for whatever Galactic Legend for
Right.
like Rey, yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
for some reason. No, it looks interesting. So the other piece of news that I want to briefly discuss is they also released the calendars for this
Yeah.
this coming month for May.
Hmm.
And both of the unlock characters or both of the, like bonus characters are rebel fighters. It's Kyle Katarn and Baze.
Which is interesting, I think.
Well, I think that it's a hint that Saw, the final Cal character, is going to be going with Mon Mothma.
Which were you thinking that that would be the case? Because I think a lot of people just didn't know what to do, like where he would fit in.
I've been saying that for a little bit now. Yeah, I think it's the only thing that makes sense, unless I mean a lot of people would probably like to give him like a partisan tag and let him
Hmm.
be like the leader of a new faction, but like there's no partisan characters out there. Like you could maybe make an argument that Nest would be a partisan because that like
Right.
she's got a tie with Edrio Two Tubes.
Hmm.
Like she hangs out with him, and then we don't know what happens to Nest after that. But then Saw is hanging out with his lieutenant Edrio.
Hmm. Yeah. So other than that, though, you'd have to bring in more characters to the game.
Which I mean, I'd be okay with it, but like the only other character that I even know anything about for them,
Mhm.
unless you like read one of their like, there's an obscure book about him, with like Iden Versio actually goes and wipes out the rest, or she's tasked with wiping out the rest of the partisans after
Mhm.
Saw is gone. And so she infiltrates them, etc. But you can kind of learn about them a little bit. Is it Iden or maybe it's someone? It doesn't matter. They the partisans though. Yeah, their own group, and they don't have characters that we know. I guess we could get like a young Jin Urso, maybe.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, so I guess he goes with Rebel Fighters then.
Seems like it. It doesn't make much sense. He's like, if he was an alternative rebel leader, I
Hmm.
mean, I guess I could see that, like maybe replacing Mon Mothma or something. But
Right. So it's either him or her leading the squad.
which I guess that would be a little bit interesting. But
That would be
yeah, so
very interesting.
it is time to do a trigger photo. We're actually past our 30 minutes here. Just too interesting looking at this kit. So yeah, let's oh, this is we're still on the on Tarfful. This is not great. If I could find the right button to push to get rid of that. Whoa, and now here we go. All right, so here's the trigger photo, folks. This is a 5. This this character has 5 Zetas. The
Hmm.
one that they're missing is the Galactic Legend one, which means you can stun Jedi Master Luke.
Which is not good.
Right. And same account has Kenobi, and not only is he a higher relic level than Kenobi, which or than Luke, which is a travesty.
Yep.
He also doesn't have this one, so he can also be stunned.
Which is also not good.
Not the greatest, I will
No.
admit. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I know. Like I feel like that Zeta is probably considered boring. We shouldn't even talk about it, but you need it.
Yeah. It's like one of the first ones you want to apply. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely triggered for that, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
not that convincing. I just think it's funny, actually. I can't wait to see a video where someone stun locks Jedi Master Luke. Like, do you remember back? Like, we have this inside joke, me and some of my earlier viewers, of like, that there was this guy. I made a whole video about it because there's a guy who was reported for cheating, and his guild just got real defensive and protective. And one of the officers was like the incident was that a team with like Night Sisters in 3v3 killed a REY team,
Oh
which
yikes.
was like not possible. And one of the officers was like, "No, you could totally do it. Like Daka just stun locks REY, and you're good." And so like we always make this joke on my streams about like, oh man, like I forgot we have Night Sisters, guys. We're good. Like we can
Yes.
just beat REY at will.
You can just stun lock her.
Yeah, and you're fine. Like problem solved.
Yeah.
And I guess if REY doesn't have the Galactic Legend Zeta,
Wait.
it actually has some legs. You might be able to stun lock her.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, that's sad.
It is fun. All right, so guys, we're gonna go over to Sarah's channel now. We'll finish this. What are we doing over on your channel, Sarah? What's the
Um, we're gonna do a character review. We're gonna answer some viewer questions, and then we're gonna roast a roster.
Awesome. All right, guys. So, video description, or there should be a button below me at this point. Click on that. Do the subs and the likings and everything on both channels, please. Double everything. So, we'll see you over on Sarah's channel for the fun part of this, or so she would claim.